This is somewhat new for me. I've never done anything like this on YouTube before, but you know, I've been if everybody's doing it, I might as well give it a go myself. I've been looking up on the internet, reading YouTube, etc., doing my own research. I'm a Muslim, so the things that obviously interest me are something that's Islamically related. Um, I've obviously been doing all my research and everything like that. What's interested me these days quite a lot is some things that are occurring in the world that link into Islam and shows that Islam foretold all these things basically. So we're going to look at a lot of aspects which interest myself. A lot of the things that we know, they're all there. Quite subliminally, we don't actually realize what's happening within the world, but hopefully with all the information I'm going to give it yourselves, and I'm not the only one, there's a lot of people who do quite a lot of things on there. If you search it up, if you read up a lot of the scholars like Bilal Phillips, Imran Hussein, he's a very good one. They'll be able to tell you a lot of these stories. So obviously I'm just going to take my own spin on it. I'm not saying that I'm right, I'm just giving my own personal opinion. So hopefully it'll open your mind and make us all wake up and realize what's actually going on in society today. You don't have to be Muslim to believe me. You don't have to be Christian. You don't have to be anything. You don't have to have a faith. But it's just to give you an idea of what's happening. And I'm giving from my perspective of what the Quran actually says as well. Alright, so one of the first topics we're going to be talking about, it's really got me sucked in at the moment basically, is that of the Freemasons. Right, a lot of you have probably heard of them, a lot of you probably think it's a myth. Right, my own personal opinion after reading all the information, they're far from a myth, I'm telling you. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world today, yeah? Put the jigsaw pieces together, you think, whoa, this is some real heavy stuff, do you know what I'm saying? So basically, I read into a lot of it. You want to be careful though, you don't get sucked too far into it, but this world, from what I'm going to tell you, there's quite a lot going on that we don't know about. There's a lot of stuff going on that is really weird, it's really inhumane, but there's a lot of symbolism around. There's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. You can tell by music, movies, personalities, governments are going to be the main people that you're going to be noticing it from. Now I think, yeah, they're just idiots. I think they shouldn't even exist, but you know what, we live in a cruel world today. It's foretold in Islam anyway that the Dajjal, which is another topic we'll go on to at a later date, the Dajjal is one thing that is going to come to the world, the false Messiah, the Antichrist, which is not just in Islam, so like I say, you don't have to be a Muslim to understand what I'm saying or believe what I'm saying. It's foretold in Christianity as well, the false prophet, the false Messiah. He's going to come to this world, he's going to claim that he is the Christ, but where in fact he is Antichrist. But that's another topic we'll go into in another video. But within this video, within the Quran, obviously is stated that the Dajjal is going to be preceded or superseded. There's going to be a group of people who are actually going to pave the way for the Dajjal, and this group of people we know as the Freemasons. Now, obviously, I'm not going to throw you into the middle of the story. I've got to go way back to the beginning. So we'll look at the history of the Freemasons, and that will give us an idea of what they're about, how they came about, etc., and it'll give a better understanding of this topic. So going all the way back to the year 1095, in a place called Clermont, France. It was ruled by the Church, and Pope Urban II waged a war in the Muslim Caliphate, called it the War of the Cross. Right, the aim was to recapture the land of Jerusalem. Now, Jerusalem is a very important factor in this area. It's important in our religion. It's important in quite a lot of religions actually, and this is where, like I said, everything all interlinks. It's important to the Freemasons. Their whole idea, the whole reason why they're going for this, it's important to a lot of the religions, and they believe it's the Holy Land, and everybody's fighting for this. So, when looking back at time, Jerusalem from the year 637 had been under Muslim rule, However, this was brought to an end in the year 1099 as a result of Pope Urban II's wage war. It was brought to a bloody end. In the name of the cross, Muslim women were raped and children were murdered, and it was said that a saying was that it was the blood run in the streets so high as to the knee of a horse. That's how much blood there was. From this, a group of men emerged. These men would stop at nothing to get what they wanted, no matter what the cost was. 20 years after this, in Jerusalem, after Jerusalem was taken, the Dome of the Rock was seized. Now, the Dome of the Rock, if somebody who doesn't know that, there's a place in Jerusalem called the Temple of Solomon, or Solomon as we call Prophet, peace be upon him. Now, the temple that you see on the news, every time they mention the Temple of Solomon, is this big gold dome, which is actually a masjid. But every time you see that on the news, what they try to basically do is they pass that off as being Temple of Solomon, wherever actually the Temple of Solomon is a building that you never ever see now. It's quite a land building. It's like a square, rectangular thing. But every time they show you this nice looking masjid, which is actually the Dome or the Rock. So when we relate to the Temple of Solomon, it's not that what we actually talk about. It's the Dome of the Rock. It's another conspiracy which I'll go into in a later episode. But just to give you an idea of what we're actually talking about here. Now that was seized by a group called the Knights Templars, or Knights of the Temple of Solomon. We assume these are the same people that we're talking about who carried out the atrocities in Jerusalem 20 years earlier. Now they began to deviate further from Christianity, further and further away, effectively creating their own religion, which is something we see today more and more. They learned the secret art of Kabbalah, which is an ancient form of Jewish magic, along with its rituals. Now, a lot of the time when you hear things on the Freemasons, you'll hear about things like ancient rituals.